3 15-minute segments. So.
I know. It turned out to like 2 hours or
3 hours, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1.
To get an hour and 15 minutes of video. Hey, everybody. Welcome back out to the National Player Club.
You get the flag already.
Delay of game.
There's some production.
5-shot penalty.
We do have
Pass them
production
out.
right, yes.
All right. Welcome, everybody, back out to the National Players Club Garage Pod.
Week 5. Yeah.
Week 5. Rolling into Week 5. Starts tomorrow. Sitting here with Aaron Kilgore of the East Coast Meat Puppets, Kevin Raleigh, the Emerald City Lanterns, and myself, Clint Davis, Total Chaos. Coming at you, like we said, for Week 5. We're going to try to keep the wheels on the bus today.
Not going to happen.
But we're going to jump into last week's matchups, how they went. Hi, Gorda. I beat you. And thank you. And I want to give a shout out to Christine, the Annihilators. Thank you for that win. I needed that win. This sound guy's just mad. It was time I got beat. And Trudy, good luck next time. Thought you had it in the bag.
That was the sound of her players scoring.
That was her kicker. So let's go.
Yeah, well, before we even jump into this, I do want to point some. Well, I guess you did pull out a win last week. So I mean, but out of the three of us, it's good that we do have some fluff towards the end of the podcast because apparently our fantasy advice is not so great. What do we like? Our picks are a nightmare, which we'll get to later.
Picks wise, yeah, that's right now I'm in the lead. Let's put it that way.
I don't even think it's that great of a score, is it? Maybe like 500.
3-3.
Okay.
I was 3-3 this week. You guys were 1-5, so.
That sounds like my fantasy scores.
It's your fantasy. Yeah, it's your
Yeah,
fantasy
that's
score.
probably, yeah. I could be there after this week or one more. All right. Well, anyways, let's jump right into it. We got Show Me Those TDs and the two Pump Chumps who are sitting in first place at 3-1.
I wanted her to win that
And
game.
a pseudo tie with you at 3-1.
Man, she's due to break out. It's not,
Yeah, she's going forward. She's due for
I know.
something.
But is she the only undefeated team so far?
Yep.
Trudy.
You mean like winless team?
winless.
Overly defeated.
Overly defeated team?
The thing is, I mean, she does have a stacked team. It's a good team.
Okay, Jamal Stafford has had some issues. He's had some drops. His wide receivers aren't helping him. She put up 24 points, respectable from the quarterback. Jamal Charles wasn't the Jamal Charles from the week before, but still put up double digits for her.
Yeah, it was close, though. I mean, with scoring, he did, well, we can't say close.
Points.
Yeah, can't say close. But he 22 points out of a running back is still pretty decent points. He got 2 touchdowns this round instead of the 300 yards or 239 yards rushing.
Well, this week we've been talking about the fact that Breeze and Brady and Rodgers and all these top-tier quarterbacks haven't been showing up. Well, this week, a lot of those quarterbacks showed up.
Very much.
You got Drew Brees put up 39 points for him. Then Jarvis Green-Ellis put up 9. I think he left 11 on the bench with Greg Little, so I mean it was like a 2-point swing.
Yeah.
So he started everybody he needed to start. I mean, I think we kind of forced him in that situation, but it worked out for him. What I find ironic, though, is her Eagles defense, which was the, I guess, the lowest scoring one out of a kicker, which I'm not really going to call a kicker.
Vernon Davis put up 4 points as well. So.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Tight end, 4 points. It's not good with the way the tight ends have been doing, but still a tight end. For your defense to put up 5, I think was worse than their tight end putting up 4.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that if you look at her bench defense, put up 5 points.
Yeah, the Lions defense, which went from worst to first a year before last, and then put up pretty average points last year, are not doing so great this year. And they really hadn't made any changes to their defensive line. So they're basically, it seems like their players just aren't showing up for the D.
Let's see what we got. So Brandon's sitting at 3-1 in first place. She's sitting at 0-4 in sixth place. She has you next week, who's sitting at 5th. I don't actually know. What is your record? 2-2? 2-2. So, I mean, a win there is not really going to affect your guys' standings so much, but, I mean, she is in almost a must-win situation.
Now
you
she's
still
going
got,
to be
you got 13 regular season games. She's only down by 4. She's got 9 games left to go. But here's the
She's
thing.
must win from here on out.
She's about
Yeah.
you're about 1 game away from having to head into the north. I'm not saying it's that much more detrimental, but we didn't move that many people around, so you still have to go through Erica and Devin and a bunch of people that are putting
Bernie.
up, considerable points, stuff like that. So, either something needs to change, or some of the players need to start stepping up and get a little more consistency out of them.
I'm going to say it's the consistency issue. I mean, the rankings on all her players, Jamal Charles, he's a top 10 on the flex chart. Matthew Stafford is in the top 25. Calvin Johnson's in the top 5.
Yeah, but her second running back is Cedric Benson.
Deshaun Jackson.
She's got D-Jack put up for 21 points, decent for a wide receiver, but she's got Cedric Benson as her second running back. That's her starting running back. That's not really. I mean, that's more of a third round back or possibly a flex position at best.
But he is a starting running back in Green Bay.
Yeah. And they've been playing a lot more
He's
runs.
got so many people all over the place there. I mean, they don't really know who to go to and what's happening over there.
Right.
You've got Danny Amendola sitting on the bench, and I want to say this is 2 weeks straight. He's put up double digits for her and still riding the pine. So
17 points.
No, she had him last week, and he put up some points for her last week.
Was he her starting lineup
Yeah.
last week?
17 points last week. It would have been 3 additional points if she would have started him over Cedric Benson.
Yeah. Well, see,
And if I remember right, I think we did suggest to you, Trudy, that you needed to start Amendola.
she started him last week. The thing with it is Amendola was going up against an 8th-ranked defense, as where Benson and Jackson were both going against a 20-something and a 30-something ranked defense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of play the defense matchup overall.
105 is not bad, but the thing is, we got 40 points on your quarterback. Then you're looking at Smith with 21, DeMarco Murray with 14, Demarius Thomas with 14 or 16 rather. His tight end gets him another, what was it, 21? No, Smith got 21. Graham got 14. DeMarco Murray 14. So I mean, he was double digits all the way down.
Yeah. Well, when you got a defense that's only putting up 5 instead of the 20 to 30 that most defenses are putting up, and you've got a kicker that didn't get a chance to really kick at all, where a lot of the kickers in the league are hitting 8, 10, and 12 points. That's covering, there's an extra 30 points, 35 points right there that should have kept her in the running that didn't show up.
So if she beats Kevin next week, that means your entire house manhandled them.
Yes,
That's pretty
good.
good.
But she is playing. She is playing without a kicker next week. Then again, she did play without a kicker this week.
Didn't really change it.
So did I. So
on that night, moving on. Road Rash and East Coast Meat Puppets. Once again, I'm going to just rant for a second. I got to get this out of my system. 1-3. I've got, and I am, if I pick a player to start, it's like the death of that player for that week. Because if you look at my bench every week, I've got at least 3 players that are in 20 to 25 points apiece. As soon as I flip my lineup, they go down to goose eggs, and then my bench all of a sudden blows up. It's happened to me every single week. I've got the 3rd-ranked quarterback in the league that I got in the 8th round. I've got the number 1 ranked running back, arguably, in the top 3, Arian Foster. But I tried to be a little cute last week and put up a 2 tight end set. They both had them. Everyone had them projected real high on both of these guys over my running backs, and I got
Goose egg out of
a goose egg out of Pitna and 6 out of Antonio Gates. Meanwhile, on my bench, I had Trent Richardson, Morris, and
Pitna didn't even see the field, did he?
No, he didn't. He got 2 balls thrown to him. He just didn't do anything with them.
Good job.
But I mean, 21, 19, 25 off my running backs on my bench versus the 6 points I got from my 2 tight ends.
there were your points to win the game. So.
Yeah. Well, and the best part of this whole loss is that my backup quarterback blew it up to his starting wide receiver, who crushed me on Monday night. And this is the 3rd game of the 3 that I've lost that have come down to the final minutes on Monday Night Football. So this agony has been drug out for the entire weekend, every single week. Just saying. McGahee got him 28 points on his bench. Kyle Rudolph, his tight end, didn't do anything, but his 2 points from his tight end was better than the 0 points from my tight end. Brandon Marshall blew up, like I said, being my quarterback. Griffin is staying strong with his double digits in his 20s, 27 points.
And 16 points from your kicker. I mean, that's stellar performance.
Yeah. I mean, when you get over 10 points on your kicker, you're doing good. Cowboys D got him 5. Granted, you could have put the Bengals in there and made it worse, but 130 is respectable. I mean,
yeah.
And
especially in our league, where some of our power players are putting up 130, 140, 160, 170 something this week is the high. And yeah, Erica just went off the charts.
So Road Rash now sits in second place at 3-1. He goes on to play DK Comics next week, who is ranked third.
That's a tough matchup, I think, coming up this week. I think that's our matchup to watch in the North this week.
Yeah, well, and because the other one is basically you got Erica playing all the way down with Bernie, which I think they're so far apart that it's not going to make a huge slice, but those two could change things up a lot. I'm sitting in sixth place. I'm playing Barflies, who are sitting in fifth place. So we're battling for the last spot. So we're basically
the battle for the top of the bottom.
Which, ironically enough, both John and Bernie are out of town this weekend. The one weekend that both Erica and I are playing them in-house. And it's Brady's first matchup this week against Peyton Manning. And my defense plays his quarterback. So yeah, there's all kinds of drama going on with that. But they said Matt Ryan got me my 35. And like you said, we know what happened there. We know what happened on his side. 130, congratulations. Get your win.
A win's what is that Jason Garrett puts it? A win's a win, no matter how ugly.
It's all right.
There's a lot of animosity in
there is. There's a very
in the pod tonight.
Buttons. All right, well, I'll see you in the playoffs. Well, I've been knocked out once in 10 years, so I still got a ways to go. All right, moving on. We've got Emerald City Lanterns.
My favorite matchup of the week.
Versus the Annihilators.
Second favorite.
Both teams are sitting at 2-2. Annihilators are sitting in fourth place in the South, with Emerald City Lanterns sitting in fifth place in the North. Which actually, if you lose next week, I'm sorry, the South. Excuse me. So 2-2. He's fifth. You're in fourth. So yeah, and you're both. So again, with your guys' matchup next week, not that you're playing each other, but with your matchups, one of you guys goes 2-3 all of a sudden. But you also, again, we're talking about the South that has another, again, four players that are all wrapped. We're getting a little more separation than we had last week, where it was 5, but now we've got 4, and we're still, I want to say 2-2. Next week, you play the TVs, who are in sixth place, and she's beat up. She's hurting. She's wounded.
Wounded. But you know what they said about a wounded animal?
Yeah,
Now
they're going up against Florida Megan in third place. This past matchup, Nyler's Manny showed up for his 23 points. McFadden, like I said, it's kind of like I said, it's gone the way
he was non-factor.
Which is crazy because the last few weeks, McFadden's been her game.
It's been What has been game decided? It didn't decide this game for her, but
she's chiming in.
But we were talking about the fact that it depends on how Fitz and which McFadden show up. Well, one did and one didn't. So they kind of split the difference, and a 117 was still enough to beat the 105.
I hate to tell you, I went into this week when the games got started, and I was looking at the scores starting to rack up and everything, and looked at the standings, and then it dawned on me. I need Christine to beat Kevin, and I need to beat Gordo, and if by a miracle of God Trudy beats Brandon, I move to first. And
we got to find another button for you.
I know, right? But so literally all night I was looking at the Cowboys going, oh, just get me some points. And then Orton stepped on the field and did his wonders. But watching Christine score, just start racking up, and then it hit us a lull. And it was like, oh, God, no, stop. Don't. Keep going. Don't stop.
And it literally came down to my defense, Giants' defense, against her quarterback, Eli Manning. And Eli turned it on at the end.
Well, I mean, Cam Newton blew it up for you.
Yeah.
AP still got his double digits for you. Gronkowski stepped up as the number one tight end that they should have for you. Your team basically got decimated was you got Malcolm Floyd, Santonio Holmes, and your kicker.
And Santonio Holmes out for the season.
Yeah. 4-4-2, and I mean, the thing is, you didn't really leave anyone on the bench.
No.
You know, I mean, if she put Dwayne Bowe in, it would have got that much uglier. And I think Dwayne Bowe's probably going to make her starting lineup.
Dwayne Bowe moved from around the 30s on the flex position chart up to, I want to say, the teens. They moved him that far up over the last couple. And same with Jamal Charles. He was down low, and then after the last couple of games, he's bumped up to within the top 10.
She's going to have some issues with Ryan Matthews, though, because he's still kind of like all over the place, and I think they actually just named Jackie Battle the starting quarterback. Now it's not really starting quarterback where it's going to be like a 70-30 split. I think it's going to be more like a 50-50 split, 65-35, whatever it is. But he is going to definitely snake some carries from him, which is hurting them. And right now, San Diego is not exactly like crushing them either. I mean, like
that's
that's
what's hard to me. With
Philip Rivers looks like crap. I mean, it's,
Malcolm Floyd, Antonio Gates. I mean, they're perennial receivers. Are just not doing that well.
yeah,
Because
and Philip Rivers is not doing that well.
Exactly.
All right. Anyways, long story short, you didn't leave any points in the bank, so you did everything you could do to win. It just didn't work out that way.
All right, we're going to have to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Not that kind of break. So stick around.
First one. This whole is one section.
Plugging in.
And there we are again.
Thanks for taking time. Yeah, I'm probably just going to blend in one of those little, 5-second windows. Smoke it if you got it. Drink it if you want it, like I did last week. We're going to jump back in with the rest of last week's matchups. Gives us time to actually talk a little crap about them. So,
Is it?
and this is my favorite matchup of the week, by the way.
We've got Gordomania going against Total Chaos. Oh, here's the messed up thing, though. Gordon still put up respectable points.
He did.
138 to 148. I mean, it was a huge victory for you. Sitting now in second place at 3-1.
5 picks, and you won the freaking game.
33 points out of a tight end that has been missing all week.
He showed up.
Showed up big. And
Gordon's at 2-2.
let's go on Gordo first. Give the man his props.
Yeah, well, Colston, 33, respectable. He was whacking Flacco, so he was going to put him in. It was a good call. 27 points over Philip Rivers, who was like we just talked about. It's kind of all over the place. Owen Daniels would have helped him out a bit. Julio Jones banged up. I really didn't expect only 4 points from him.
No kid. With the way Gordo's team always goes, whenever you see something like 4 points out of a wide receiver or running back or something on his team, it's a fluke. Like Matt Forte, I mean, he put Matt in, and watching that game, Matt Forte was in and out of that game. The fact that he put up any points surprised me because Dallas was actually able to maintain him at the line of scrimmage.
And he didn't show up on the injury report this week. So,
well, I'm someone Julio Jones put up 4 points.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew, Matt Forte's first game back in, and didn't really know what to expect from him. They weren't expecting a huge game out of him. 6 points was a little bit less than I thought they were going to get from him. But what I was really surprised was Julio Jones, and it definitely reflected in Erica's matchup we'll talk about here shortly because Turner, again, got the rock a lot this week. He's sitting at 2-2, still respectable third place. There's like that chunk that you can move either way depending upon the matchups. He's got another next week, another
Christine
in the 4th spot.
Do it again.
So it's one of those where there's going to be a lot of shifting going on in that thing right there. On you. Okay, now here's the messed up part. You won this game by a solid 10 points when your quarterback put up 11.
5 picks. See? It's like I know what he's doing.
I'm looking at the screen right here, and it's just 5 pass interceptions.
Yeah. Romo had a very, very off game. The second time in his career he's done.
You can't. I don't think you can put all this on Romo, though.
No, wide receivers weren't showing up. Offensive line couldn't hold a pocket to save their life.
Dez just missed that route.
He missed 3 routes.
He was horrible.
Yeah.
In his hands twice.
On the flip side of that, you've got Jason Witten puts up 33 points.
Your highest
for your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Via your quarterback that put up 11.
Well,
somebody else
actually the last I'd say the last almost 30 yards of receiving, the last 4 catches. So there's 4 points there. 30 yards. There's another 7 points. In receiving, or 3 points, so 7 points out of just receptions, and then 6 more points, so there's 13 points, all came from Orton in the last 3 minutes of play. And it was down the field, 50-something yards for a touchdown.
I'm looking at Romo's numbers. I mean, he put up 307 passing yards, which, if I'm right, that is bonus, right?
After 300, he gets a 5-point bonus.
5 point
but
bonus.
He also lost 10 points just via those picks.
I mean,
if you add the 10 points, did the math, all you have to do is add the 10 points. He had 21 points total because he only had the 1 touchdown to Miles Austin.
The rest, I mean, like I said, Witten got you, Victor Cruz got you, Chris Johnson on your bench put up 20 points.
Hey, you know what? Chris Johnson has been it hadn't been up and down.
I wouldn't have started him.
This
Chris
is 2
Johnson
weeks
was
in a
literally
row.
in that box where you're like, okay, you can drop him, but you're not going to get anything for him, so you might as well just stick him on your bench and just see
what happens.
Because you're not going to get anything for him, but like someone like we talked about last week, who could you possibly dump him off to somebody that they could leave him on the bench that you can get a starting running back for because nobody was starting Chris Johnson.
Right.
See, here's the kicker. Gordo left 9 points on his bench with Owen Daniels. So that still puts him like 1 point down if he would have started him. So.
Well, you go into 2 pump chumps next week. First place. And you got some
bye.
issues.
I have no tight end. It's just no tight end for next week.
That's him running to the locker room.
Right. I've got Alex Smith from San Francisco, who
A decent quarterback.
you say decent?
He put up 6 points.
Yeah.
This
one's
week,
last
I
week.
think
My
was
tight end put up 6 points.
Yeah.
It's the anomaly.
My
It's the anomaly. It's the anomaly.
Alex Smith is one of those that he could be here 1 week, and then you're wondering why they even started him the next. Like this past week.
So next week is Dallas's bye.
Yep.
So you're
No, it's this week. I'm forced to. Yeah.
So you're forced into
Alex
you're missing
Smith.
Witten, you're missing Romo, you're forced into Alex Smith. Are you putting Chris Johnson back in the lineup?
I haven't really decided. I've kind of been watching
Because I mean,
Hillman and Hankerson. Hankerson has actually been showing up on
You
the
got you have the spot for him with Miles Austin being out too.
Yep.
So.
And I was a little torn this week about Nate Washington against either Ronnie Hillman or Hankerson, who are both, one's a rookie who's starting to show up for Denver, I do believe. Or no, it's Washington, one of Washington's wide receivers. And then Hillman's for Denver. He's starting to make a showing with Noshawn being in and out, and he's starting to move up in the running back range. So I'm hoping one of those are going to go off, and they can take the place of probably Nate Washington or Miles Austin next week.
So with you leaving 36 points via the Texans on your bench, do they make your starting lineup over the Ravens this
Oh,
week?
yes. Yes, they do.
You know who their actual prospective matchups are this week?
What
What do we say?
Houston
Texans
has
was playing. Too much. Texans are playing the Jets.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
that should get 40 points right
You better be
there.
hoping that you're taking the place of your starting quarterback.
Right?
All right, moving on. We've got DK Comics and The Burn. The
I
Burn,
was surprised to no extent about DK's points this week.
it's his whole team didn't show up. I mean, you got Schaub. I mean, he's been able to shuffle the 3 quarterbacks he had to get respectable points out of him. He put up 16 points off of Schaub. Rice got him 16, which hurt him a little bit, but it wasn't like that detrimental. But you look at it, Stevie Johnson got 4. Bennett, who was crushing it 20 points a game, got 1. You've got Crabtree, it's Crabtree, you kind of know what he is.
When your top performers are defense, I mean, the Vikings put up 44 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was literally almost half of his scored points that week for a starting lineup. And they didn't really leave anything on his bench. I mean, Reggie Bush put up 6. I mean, he could have switched him out for, I don't know, Stevie Johnson, but why would you? He started all the right people. It didn't happen. The Burn, and again, in a situation where she was not a must-win, but he needed one.
Yeah.
Now sitting in the 4th place in the North, right behind DK Thomas with the win that she had. Plays the Naughty Gnomes next week. And she's got her work cut out for her. Now, Rodgers, again, like we said, we basically critiqued the 3 quarterbacks that hadn't shown up. It was Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady. And who showed up this week? Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. Aaron Rodgers for 33 points. Michael Bush put up with 3. Now Fitzpatrick actually put up 34 on her bench, so she could have got 2 more out of it. But there's no you wouldn't be starting Fitzpatrick over Aaron Rodgers. But there is trade bait there. When someone is needing a quarterback, she can actually tweak that out and actually turn it into some other players if she needs to. As soon as she gets some cash in and gets that all squared away, I think that makes it a nice trade bait for some of the people who have some of the lesser quarterbacks, like your Philip Rivers and Tony Romo.
Wait a minute.
The other thing, she's in an interesting position, which I think Erica is too, because you have 2 very good quarterbacks on your bench. At this point, I mean, you almost have to play the matchup on your quarterbacks because both your quarterbacks, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick has been stellar all season long.
350, 4 passing touchdowns. Now, he did throw 4 picks, but, I mean, still 34 points. Like we talked about last week, the 300 mark is kind of like we've blown past that as a benchmark to move on.
But, I mean, I think you're at that point with certain quarterbacks. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is finally starting to catch a stride.
Steelers on a bye last week?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You know, Tom Brady's, you know, getting his
That's
stride.
another one I have. I have Antonio Brown on my bench.
You got to start. Honestly, I think with these top tier quarterbacks, you know, you need to start looking at the matchups. You know, I don't think they're guaranteed locks anymore. I really don't.
Based off of, I would agree with you based off of the first several weeks production, but these guys, I believe, are going to produce. Now, if you had asked me last week, okay, can you trade Aaron Rodgers off to somebody else? But it's not like saying Chris Johnson, where you can go, okay, well, you trade Chris Johnson, you're not going to gain anything from him. If you trade Aaron Rodgers, he's healthy. He's still Aaron Rodgers. He's still on Green Bay. You'd still get.
He's still going to be discount double checking it.
You could possibly, let's say she didn't have Fitz, she could actually probably trade someone that had Fitz for Fitz and another player for Aaron Rodgers, even though his lack of production in the first several weeks.
I think, although I think Eric is in a different position on that because you have an aging quarterback in Tom Brady, so you need to start keeping it, especially with that offensive line. And
our lines,
you know, I mean, we were talking about this earlier.
Brady still comes back and scores points, though. Kevin Colbert's going to come back and score.
You should come
I'm
up
not
with
talking
yours.
about that. But you look at how good Arizona's been playing lately. I mean, and she's off camera here, and I'm talking to her
The
about
quarterback
this.
hasn't been.
But
their defense.
Yeah.
you need, honestly, I think those are
I
two
think
quarterbacks
Rudy's
you need to start looking at
coaching on the side
matchups.
for Arizona.
I really do.
Are you talking? Wait, let me ask you. Are you talking about the matchups for the Gnomes or for Bernie?
Both Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. I think going
Yeah,
forward.
but the thing is,
Okay, well, let's put a pin in that.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah,
hold that
we'll
there,
get
and we'll
there.
get back to that one on the next
let's knock
segment.
out this last one real fast. We get the Barflies and the Naughty Gnomes, which we just basically led into. We've got the 5th place Barflies and the 1st place Naughty Gnomes, who are now sitting at 3-1. Barflies are 1-3, down with me, tied in last place, which I'm technically in last place. He's got to play me this week. She's got to play Bernie, which we were just referring to, which is kind of why I want to tie this up with the last one. Seahawks defense put up 9 points. I mean, that, you know, they hurt the Barflies there, but his backup defense put up -5.
Which I think is the new benchmark low.
Yeah, that absolutely is the new benchmark low.
-1 was the
Yep.
benchmark.
I was talking about him being a homer and what he was going to do, whether he was going to get Andy Dalton in the starting mix. Dalton put up 21 points, still respectable, but Peyton Manning actually had a pretty stellar game, and, well,
He's
30.
Peyton Manning. I mean,
But he's been kind of like this. He's been that middle of the pack.
I think
he's getting his legs underneath him, and I think he's
the
actually
other
gonna be better
thing
moving
I'm
forward.
seeing with Denver is Manning's always been throw first kind of guy. Denver likes to split up what they do. Denver's got 3 strong running backs that there are 4 now, but they all can produce on yards after the tackle, breaking through line of scrimmage and getting
But 4 strong running backs do they have?
Noshawn Marino, Willis McGahee, somebody else, and then that Hillman kid.
I don't look at that as
Well,
4 strong running backs. I still think they're a pass first offense.
It's you Peyton Manning. He's passing the ball,
Yeah.
but I think Peyton's in a position currently that he wasn't in Indianapolis. He's not calling the offensive plays like he was in offense.
Yeah, they're spending more time saying, "Hey, run the ball. Let's start building a run game. Let's build a run game. Let's build a run game." So Manning's not going to do.
Their running game is only complementary to their passing game. If they're going to build enough of a running game to basically let them respect that to some extent, he's still going to throw the ball. He's still going to be Peyton Manning. They're still going to allow him to make calls on the field. He is still going to dictate that offense, and he's still going to go downfield. I disagree with you.
Like I said, he's still Manning.
Well, like I said, 30 points was respectable for him. He's been a little bit here, but he's been more kind of middle of the pack. But he's still worth keeping. Again, back to where Andy Dalton could be some trade bait for him for some people that actually need a better quarterback if he wants to run with Manning down the road. MJD, not the performance they put up last week, but still double digits. Pettigrew was double digits for him. Jordy Nelson with the absence of Greg Jennings got him 23. Then Terry, who said he was on a bye, Seahawks 9, but it was better than his -5.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, I mean, you want to look at Erica's team, like I said,
That's
there's
just-
there's
that
the
was
third
just
quarterback that
ugly.
we talked about, showed up. They were down early, they came back big, 36 points, 31 from Turner, the one that she was ready to just kick to the curb and is now starting to blow up in the last couple of weeks with the injury to Julio Jones. He steps up and has become the focal point of maintaining balance in that offense. They remind me a lot of the Houston Texans, where they've got a decent run game, or Houston's got a better run game, but they've got enough of a run game. They've got decent passers. They've got a good quarterback, and they've got a defense that actually can show up. They're a very well-balanced matchup. Michael Shore, who actually blew up for her on her opening week, got her 7 on the bench. She didn't really leave anything on the bench. Her backup quarterback got her 4. Falcons defense got her 8. You know, I mean, there was nothing left there for her to put in.
Yeah,
So it was
23
right.
points on the bench, so she made every right call there was to make, and it showed in the score. I mean, 171 points.
It's going to be interesting to see what Brady and what Rodgers shows up in the matchup between Naughty
Next
Dog
week,
and
yeah.
Brady this week.
And we'll get into that in the next segment. So thanks for sticking around for last week's matchups. We're going to take another break, start a new segment. It'll be posted, yada, yada, yada. Check it on our... You're just mad because I'm tied for first. But stick around. We'll be back.